What if the man credited with putting America on wheels was also secretly sabotaging the industry he helped create? Henry Ford, a genius, an industrialist, and a man with more power than some world leaders. But was there a darker side to his legacy? From failed factories to war profiteering and even rumors of arson, could Henry Ford have played a double game? Let's investigate. To understand the mystery, we need to start with the man himself. Henry Ford wasn't just an inventor, he was a revolutionary. In 1908, the Model T changed transportation forever, and by the 1920s, Ford controlled nearly 50% of the global auto market. But as his empire grew, so did his enemies and his secrets. Despite his success, Ford had an iron grip on his factories. He used spies to monitor his workers, crushed unions, and even hired a former Navy intelligence officer to run his private security force. But did his thirst for power go even further? Did Ford deliberately sabotage his competitors? Between the 1910s and 1930s, a strange pattern emerged. Multiple rival factories burned to the ground, often right before launching a car to challenge Ford's dominance. The Studebaker factory in 1913, the Maxwell Motor Company fire in 1920, and the Dodge plant explosion in 1925. Some of these were ruled accidental, but were they really? Each of these fires conveniently helped Ford keep his competition at bay. And here's the kicker. Many of them happened while Ford was ramping up production of his next big automobile. Coincidence, or something more sinister? In 1928, Henry Ford set out to build his own self-sustaining city deep in the Amazon rainforest, Fordlandia. The goal? A private rubber plantation to break free from British rubber suppliers. But instead of success, Fordlandia became a nightmare. Disease, worker rebellions, supply chain failures. It was a complete disaster. Here's where it gets weird. Some historians believe Ford knew it would fail. If Fordlandia had succeeded, it would have disrupted global rubber prices, giving him an unfair advantage. But by letting it collapse, he actually kept prices higher, something that conveniently hurt his competitors more than him. So was this just bad planning? Or was Ford manipulating the market on a whole different level? Now let's talk about one of the most controversial chapters in Ford's history. While the US was preparing for World War II, Ford opposed the war effort publicly. But behind the scenes, his factories were still supplying parts to Nazi Germany. There are even reports that Ford's German plants continued making vehicles for the Nazi regime after the war started. Some documents suggest Ford Motor Company may have profited from both sides of the conflict. If true, this wouldn't just be business. It would be one of the most shocking industrial scandals in history. So, was Henry Ford a brilliant entrepreneur who pushed the world forward? Or was he a ruthless manipulator who didn't just crush the competition, but might have even sabotaged them? We may never have concrete proof of Ford's involvement in these events, but the patterns are too strange to ignore. Some say he was just a shrewd businessman. Others, they call him a saboteur hiding in plain sight. Was Henry Ford secretly pulling the strings behind the industry's biggest failures? Or is this all just conspiracy? Let me know your thoughts in the comments.